Raghunath, are you ready for this?
What?
The Wisdom of the Sages trainings that are going on.
Where?
At the Eco Village, the Govardhan Eco Village in India.
Why?
To totally transform your life spiritually.
Who?
You, me, Radha Swami's going to be there. Other great teachers are going to be there. Lots of cool people.
How?
You go to wisdomofthesages.com/events. You find all the information there.
Haribo.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Mara's house in beautiful upstate New York, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kostu Adas. Welcome to the show, everybody. We had a blackout yesterday. That's why I'm here. No electricity at the farm. We had to do the podcast in the car at Love's. Sweet Baby Krishna.
Oh, yeah.
And what an episode it was, my friend.
Okay.
Wait. I'm going to have to dive into that. It was one of these comics that it should have been rated R. It was like a very scary, like
sage that.
Oh my God. No, it wasn't like dirty like that. It was just sort of like, it was a lot for a little kid to grasp. I'm still disturbed about it.
Yeah,
I'm still disturbed.
Heavy.
And I'm going to get into that later.
All right.
It's got to do with everything we talk about every day.
Okay.
Especially the last few days with Siddhartha. Okay. Mara, what's up? Any news?
Yeah, we have a Back to Recovery group meeting at noon today. Tomorrow for our Patreon members, Josh Kane is offering an asana class at 10:30 a.m. And Jamuna Jai is back to doing her Fun Day Friday, which will be at 5:30 p.m. And then do you want to talk about the Sage group registration?
Yeah, this is the big day, everybody. This is it, right? We launched the registration for the next session of Sage groups, right?
Yeah.
The next session of Sage groups will go from the first week in January for 18 consecutive weeks.
Great way to start your new year. Come together with like-minded people, huddle together on a computer, and talk about spiritual topics. It's a great way to develop community, even though the people aren't, local. We're still doing this remotely, but it's great. People love it.
Yeah, it's like, thousands of people listen to Wisdom of the Sages every day. And amongst those thousands, many of them are going to say, well, how do I get more into this? What's my next step, right?
This is your next step. This is your next step.
Yeah. And so what you do is you go to wisdomofthesages.com and you click on Sage Groups. And then it's going to give you the information. And then it's got a whole page of all our different group leaders. We have it's going to be something like 45 groups or more.
Some are specific, some are like interest specific.
Some of the groups are like they're participants like specific, like excuse me. There's women's groups, there's men's groups, there's LGBT, there's one LGBT group, but if more people sign up for that, we'll start another one, There's a group for divorce, loss, and grief people that have been going through that.
Good group.
There's a parents group, at least one or two. Married group. There's a yoga teacher group. There's a Krishna core group.
What about a singles group? Is there a singles group?
I don't think we have a singles group.
Let's not do it. Let's just
okay. All right. And then, but most of the groups are open. They're just
save that for
anybody.
the dating app.
Yeah, most of the groups are wide open. They're just like for anybody. But they're really we get tons and tons of feedback on these groups that. Oh, okay. It's a place where you can open up. It's a place where you can ask questions. It's a place where you can say, this is weird to me or whatever. And people, they're non-judgmental. You can just really open up. You don't even get that like something, even if you had like a temple, like a Krishna temple in your town, you might go there for years and never feel like you have the freedom to open up and talk. Which isn't a good thing, but here, it's right here for you.
It's right here. It's set up. You're with people that you sort of trust. I think sometimes it's good to go to one of those groups that's not focused on anything, where you can just meet
Yeah, the groups aren't. It's not like all the conversation is focused on that, but it's just that it's people coming from that place, so they might share. Like if
Okay.
you're a parent, you might share.
Okay, that's smart. I
Um,
mean, that's great. It's free, and you go to our website,
free.
wisdomofthesages.com, to sign up.
Wisdom of the
what's the-
Sages.
.com,
Yeah,
and then
wisdomofthesages.com and then Sage Groups.
Yeah, and that'll launch at 1 p.m. today.
Yeah, the registration launches at 1, and the sooner you get in, the better chance you have to get in to the group that you would most want to get in. You can read all
Operators
the
are
bios.
standing by. Yes.
We have 2 Spanish-speaking groups now too. You know that.
Oh, really?
If you like Spanish is your first language and you listen to Wisdom of Sages in English, but you want to discuss it with people in Spanish, we got that for you too. All right,
This is great.
go for
This
it.
is
everybody.
beautiful.
All right.
By the way, and here's some good news is we talked Jiva G into coming to India with us in January. So Jiva G from the BRG, the Bhakti Recovery Group,
Shiva G from the BRG.
Jiva G from the BRG is going to be in India with us the entire month for the Kirtan Academy and the Wisdom Training, as well as the whole 300. We're going to have optional BRG meetings at the Govardhan Eco Village. And if you haven't been to that, it's not just for people who are struggling with addiction or alcoholism, but there's a lot of, what's the word? Less
Process addiction.
process addictions or codependency. It's an incredible way to come by. Oftentimes this is what happens. People come by, I'm just going to observe. I'm fine, but I want to observe. The second meeting, they're like, wow, I've got tons of issues I really need to work on and talk about. It's a great opportunity. I welcome her to come, and it's a special treat for anybody who wants to do a little self-discovery that's already signed up for any of our programs in January. If you haven't, that door is shutting incredibly quick. We have the wisdom training. We have our 300-hour teacher training, which spans the entire month, and we have our Kirtan Academy. So
Just a couple
please,
spots left.
yeah, please go to wisdomofsages.com and check that out, or my website, raghunath.yoga.
Those BRG meetings are changing people's lives.
They're changing people's lives. They just got back from a Switzerland retreat, and that is like, they're big shifts in the way people see the world. So we're happy to have her out there, and we're happy to be in league with the Bhakti Recovery Group.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Now, was there something that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, there's a little story I'm going to tell you, my friend.
All
It's
right.
a little
You didn't run
story
this
that
by
we
me
all
before the show, so let's see where this goes.
the Super Soul Players acted it out yesterday. Of course, me, Bunky, and
What's
there
the
it is.
story?
There's a picture of it. Devotees of Vishnu, comic book by Amar Chitra Katha. So it's based on these stories from the Puranas, these comic books.
So for Patreon members, you were having a live kind of, what do they call that when you do a read? I guess did they call it doing a read? Like when you're practicing to do a drama? A read? What do they call that? Like when you don't.
A dress rehearsal?
No, dress rehearsal means you put on all the clothes.
A dramatic reading, perhaps?
Dramatic reading. We can call, it's safe to say it was a dramatic reading.
Okay.
And you never
dramatic.
You never realize how dramatic Mara can get too. She comes right out of her shell.
Really? All right.
It's nothing compared to Bunky. I got big.
Did you do drama when you were in your private school, Mara?
I did not. No.
All right.
No, she did not, but she's doing it now. So check it out. Let's do with the story. So Narada and Krishna were walking in the desert, and Narada said,
"Desert. This already sounds bogus to me."
Will you stop it? Will you stop it? It's all bogus. It's all bogus. Listen to the essence here.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we got to back up because Narada had a question for Krishna.
Yeah, they're Oh yeah, yeah. That's why they're walking in the desert. He's about to ask a question.
Well, no, that was why Krishna took him to the desert. Sorry.
Okay. You want to tell a story? You're a pretty good storyteller.
No, but I will back it up.
Is there any mention of where this story comes from, like its source?
No,
beyond the comic book?
The source is Amar Chitra Katha. That's the Veda.
So
that's
like these comic guys just made it up.
Yeah, the comic guys made it up. No, I have full faith. They're very authentic, these comics.
I'm beginning to wonder, but let's hear it.
Okay, so they're walking in the desert.
I'm not going to explain this to the faithless.
I'm not faithless.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on then. I have a feeling you are going to explain.
All right, so look.
Okay.
So Narada said, "Can you please explain Maya to me, Krishna?"
Okay.
He said,
illusory
Maya.
energy.
He said, I can't explain Maya. You have to
Oh, I've heard this before.
experience Maya.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
you've
this
heard it. If you've heard it, it's bona fide. If I've heard it, it's not bona fide.
Okay, go on.
Okay. So I have to demonstrate. You have to experience Maya for you to fully understand it. He said, all
Okay,
right, well,
so let's for people that might be new in the terminology, let's get this straight. So you have a great sage named Narada, right? He's a great teacher of bhakti. He's speaking with Krishna. Says, can you explain Maya, which is this illusory energy? We're moving through this world confused and bewildered and in illusion. There's an energy that does that brings us into illusion, right? That covers our clarity and so on. So Narada's saying, can you explain this energy to me?
So then Krishna said, well, you have to experience it. And so all of a sudden they started walking and there's a desert. They're in a desert. And Krishna said, Narada, I'm very, very thirsty. Can you get me some water? He said, of course, Krishna. I would love to get you some water. I'd love to serve you. And he walks over and there he sees a well. Perfect timing. So he goes to this well, which is part of this incredibly charming village. And he's like, how perfect. But at the well was this very beautiful young lady. And he said, excuse me, I'm looking for some water for my master. And the lady was so charming. She said, oh, great sage. I can do more than that for you. Come on, let me get you some water. You must be hungry. You look like you've been traveling. It's not often that we get sages like this in our village. Please come here. You must be so wise. So many people will benefit from having you here. He said, oh, really? Okay. And so he goes in and this woman was quite enticing and charming and very innocent and modest. And he said, sat him down, here's some water and here's some food. Please sit, take a load off. And all of a sudden, this very beautiful, handsome king comes in. He said, are you the king of this village? He goes, yes, I am. I'm the chieftain of this village. I run this place. And this is my beautiful daughter. And at this time, with all the love and care that this woman is giving him, he's falling in love with this.
He was a
woman.
celibate monk. That's
he was a celibate monk. He was a celibate monk just wandering around chanting. And then now he's smitten with desire, but he's seeing the good in this woman. It's not just like a lusty woman. He's just like a very beautiful, sattvic, caring person. And so he thought, this woman
perhaps would make a good wife.
Is perfect. Would make a perfect wife. And so he went over to the chieftain, put his arm around her, and said, hey, listen, I don't know. This is your daughter, right? Is she unmarried? She says, yes, she is unmarried. He says, well, what would it take to marry your daughter? He goes, well, I run this village here and she's my only daughter. And if you want to marry my daughter, you are a great personality. I would consider it, but you can't take my daughter out of this village. She has to stay in this village. It's like, yeah, fine. I'll stay in this
Narada
village.
by nature, he was a real traveler too, right?
Narada never went. He didn't like to get caught up in things. Mm-hmm. So he just kept on rolling. He was the rolling stone gathers no moss.
Right.
So he's saying, yeah, you want me to stay here? I'll stay here. So he stays here and he finds a deep love connection with this woman. And she really cares about him. And you know what? She gets pregnant. They have a baby, a beautiful little baby. It looks just like him. He's like, oh my God, it's little baby Narada. He looks like just like me. He's adorable. And he gets a little older and they have another baby. They have 4 little cute, adorable babies. And he loves them all equally. He's like, this is so sweet. And he embraces the child. And the other baby's like, Daddy, pick me up. You always pick him up. Okay, I'll pick you up. I'll pick you both up. And then the third one's hanging on his leg and he's playing games with them. And he's got little toys for them. And they're just like enjoying life. And the mother is just like, she's faultless. She's coming out. Look what look what I made for you. Here's lunch. Would you like lunch? And they just like a very wonderful connection. And then the chieftain, her father, ends up getting ill and dying. And so he takes the responsibility. So he's ordering people around. Okay, you got to go here and you got to go there. But because he's taken over all that responsibility, he's also inherited so much from that chief. Just like it's like as if money has been dumped on his lap and property has been dumped on his lap. And it's sort of like now life's really cooking. The kids are getting a little bigger. The wife is they're deeper in love. They're really strongly connected. And then a cyclone hits the town. A cyclone. Just like, did you see any of those videos of those floods they had in Pakistan this year?
No.
Really? You don't what how come I follow these things and you don't? It really depends what you follow. That's the only news you get, isn't it? I know every animal that's been attacked and every flood that's happening and every landslide that's happening.
Sinkhole.
A polar bear cub and a little seal playing together. I was like, I bet this isn't on your Instagram feed. Nobody got eaten. Nobody got attacked.
Hashtag cute animals.
Exactly. That's what I follow.
Anyway, there was massive landslides and floods this year in Pakistan. And these floods are taking out villages, taking out shops.
Let's get back.
This is the story, Kostuba.
Okay.
These things are real. I'm not just part of a comic book.
Yeah.
So cyclonic storms hit this village they were living in, and things were getting swept away. And everybody was screaming. They're all getting swept down this river. The children, the wife, and him, and they're saying, "Father, help us, Father! I'm helpless." And he goes, quickly, I've got a boat, jump in the boat. And no one had a boat, but he had a lot of property and money and real estate. He luckily had his own boat. So they're all getting in the boat and they're floating down this river and it's getting tumultuous like floods can. I've seen floods on a regular basis. I see floods and, hashtag floods, hashtag landslides. And sure enough, the boat capsizes and everyone starts screaming, "Father!" And the wife was like, "My dear, honey, help me!" And then he just reaches out his hands and he goes, "Oh, Lord Vishnu, help me! Lord Vishnu, help me! Help me!" And all of a sudden, he's in the desert with Krishna.
Oh, it was all an illusion.
And Krishna's like, and he goes, "Vishnu, where are my children? Where's my wife? Where's my family?" He said, "You cried for help. I helped you.
Where's my glass of water?
And Krishna said, "Where's my glass of water?" I was like, what?
What?
This is devastating. I was devastated by this story. But what happened was, he was in the process of serving Krishna. He turned his back from Krishna. And slowly and insidiously, he accepted material enjoyment, which started with, what a wise sage. You think I'm wise? It starts off with a little bit of my ego.
Prestige.
And a little bit of prestige. It's nothing sinful, nothing crooked. Didn't rob a bank. Started off with that ego and that prestige, and it was a slippery slope. And it wasn't like he lived this like degraded debauchery. It was just
he got lost and then he was suffering, huh?
It was just material existence.
Now this is an interesting story and it illustrates a very interesting point. I thank you for bringing it to our attention, Raghunath. But that being said, as you were reading, I received a private message. You listening to me at all?
No.
Now that you've told your story, are you listening? I received a private message, Raghunath. You ready?
Yes.
So this is it's disciples of Srila Prabhupada brought this story to him. Okay.
Yes.
And Prabhupada was saying, like, what story are you talking about? And they said, Prabhupada, that one about Narada falling into Maya? Prabhupada said, Narada Muni doesn't fall into Maya. He checked it. He said that was not a real authorized story you're telling, Raghunath. You are bringing in false teachings. You are. Look at you. Why you look so confused? Are you going to speak?
I thought we were going to talk about the story.
Oh, no.
I thought it was a very deep story.
I think. Okay, let's talk about the story.
The idea is that they can be okay. I'm going to find a place where the people get put. How about Arjuna? He was put into Maya for the benefit of us, Mr. Kostuba.
All I'm saying is
it's not like
Prabhupada said about this
he's not
specific
in
story.
Maya. He's not like he's in Maya. He's just demonstrating something.
What did Prabhupada say about Siddhartha?
Yeah, what does he say about that?
But
one,
but I'm not
Kastuba?
presenting it. I'm not presenting it as if it's Shastra. That's the point.
Well, we're just telling a story.
Okay.
We're
just
presenting it
tell
as a comic.
Okay, there you go.
Dramatic reading.
Dramatic reading. The Super Soul Players.
Okay. I'm not even denying that there wasn't something important to learn from it. I'm just putting it in the category where we know that it's not Shastra. That's important.
I'm gonna find it. I think it's out there. I don't think these Amar Chitra Katha people would make up stuff.
No, Prabhupada disagrees, but apparently you know
maybe
more.
he just didn't know about it. Maybe he just never heard the story.
Yeah, well, okay, but that's not what he said. He didn't say I didn't know about it. He just said
He-
that it was
but
wrong.
maybe he didn't know. I accept Prabhupada as a pure devotee. Doesn't mean he
Okay.
knew every story.
No, I know, but he said that Narada doesn't fall into Maya, and he knows him personally, Raghunath.
He knows Narada personally.
I mean, Narada asked you.
Narada asked what?
Well, Narada was asking. You know, it's like he didn't fall into Maya like against his like their way.
Yeah,
theirs didn't
yeah,
fall.
yes.
Well, it certainly seems that he was casting, he was delegitimizing the authenticity of the story.
I'm gonna find the story.
Okay.
Find the story.
Good luck. Raghunath. I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
find the
study
story.
all the shastras to win this
I'm gonna
debate.
find the story. Okay.
All right.
Raghunath. Thank you. Thank you. So what now? Share with me your own personal feelings about what was illustrated through that bogus story.
No, I'm not anymore. I'm not playing this game.
Why not? I'm just joking, Raghunath. I want to hear what your thoughts are about it, for real.
I'm trying to think of
Go the
another
wind
time.
out of your
I'm
sails.
trying to think of another time where somebody else fell into Maya. That was
No.
transcendental, but they did it
Don't
to
worry about
create-
that. Really, like, I want to hear your thoughts about it. You said you had a lot to share about it.
Okay, my thoughts were it was incredibly disturbing because it makes me realize like everything, every type of like tragedy that we experience in this world
And happiness.
and happiness is it. First of all, it is a blink in the eye. It is all temporary,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not based in reality. It's
I'm
not
with you.
based in reality. There's a whole nother reality, but it makes you realize. It makes you think like, man, we're taking this whole material world too seriously. It's where people would say, oh, this is spiritual bypassing. You're not taking this world seriously. But the fact is, there is another world. There is another, or at least there's every opportunity that there is, because this world is very temporary.
Mhm.
I mean, this world is.
We enter
There's
into
every
dreams every night,
opportunity.
right?
It's a temporary world. I mean, it is a temporary world, but
Yeah.
it could be so temporary. It could be
It-
so temporary. Like if all this stuff we're reading is true, it is a blink of an eye.
Well,
That's how
just
temporary it is.
think about this, Raghunath, that every night we go to sleep and we dream, right? And we enter into a whole nother world, and it seems very real, and we accept it as real, and we go through pleasure and pain. We go through emotional ups and downs in this illusory world that doesn't exist, and then we wake up and we realize the whole thing was unreal, right?
Yeah.
Now, if we experience that on a daily basis, and we don't have enough imagination, right, to think, okay, let me consider the possibility that right now I might be in an illusion. Well, then, are we really being truly objective, right? Raghunath, I should have never said anything about that
wars
story.
on the
It-
message
it
board
killed
with
you.
people right now.
It took.
I'm getting more.
I never seen you become so speechless before. It's a good story, Raghunath. Good comic.
Anyway,
Let's get into Bhagavatam.
let's
huh?
go on.
Yeah. Let's get back to the real Narada. Thank you.
Ryan
hurts you.
Namaskritya Naram Shaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which is the very source of our
Great
wisdom,
means of conquest.
one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayana Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya. Uttamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. Loving service to the Supreme Lord
Will be established as an
Praise-
irrevocable
praise and
fact.
threat will be established as a irrevocable fact. Om Jnanatamurandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmadatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
That's right.
I had another dream about the Ganges last night. I just remembered. I've been
Wow.
having these reoccurring dreams of the Ganges.
You have a Rath Yatra?
I had a Rath Yatra dream. Last night.
Nice.
I was at
Raghunath.
Rath Yatra in Europe, I think Switzerland.
We
Okay.
were just talking about Switzerland.
We were just talking about Switzerland.
You know, if we read enough today, it's going to get into dreams and what's they're about and how these different images come together and all that.
Yeah, if we read some Herman Hesse, we can read about that.
This really hurt you, Raghunath.
It really hurt me.
I didn't mean
Really
to hurt you. Really, honestly.
My dear king, just try to understand the allegorical position of the deer.
Oh, this is where we
Reading
were
from
yesterday.
Canto 29, text 55.
This really shook you up, Raghunath.
It shook me up. I was ready to pontificate, dive into this deeply, bring it inward, share my own experiences.
I wanted you to do that.
No,
I was asking you to do
no, taking my ball and going home.
that. All right. Okay,
I think
so,
he would have really hated the one about Narada gets a monkey face.
Paramananda would just put that on the message board. I really want Parma to get some monkey.
Yes, there is. Maybe that one wasn't Shastra.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay, pull yourself together, Raghunath. We got a show to do.
Walk with pot of oil on his
Oh,
head.
that's a
Like
good
that
one.
would kinda say too, of like once you're, it's like once you're like caught up in the village life with your family, when you're working, you have all these responsibilities and you're forgetting about Vishnu.
Yes, that's a good one too. Narada has to walk with a pot of oil on his head. And Lord Vishnu has to do what? Parikaram around
Yeah, without spilling
a drop of oil. It's filled to the rim. And he said, "Did you do it?" He said, "I didn't spill a drop of oil." And he said, "Oh, really? And what were you thinking of? Were you thinking of me?" And he said, "No, I was thinking of not dropping the oil." There you go. You got to think of me. And he was comparing this simple earthling devotee who was always thinking of Krishna no matter what he did.
And Narada was like, "Big deal. I sing transcendental songs day and night for you. I'm always singing for you. I'm the greatest devotee." But then when
I think we got to put the comic books away. I think Krishna, the Sweet Baby Krishna used to be reading from Krishna book. And since it's gone to the
They're
comic
good
book.
stories, man, and they're fun to act out.
Okay. All right, Raghunath, come on now. Let's get into this. We got to shake
so
out. those
Narada got a
comic-
monkey face. My dear king, just try to understand the allegorical position of the deer. Be fully conscious of yourself and give up the pleasure of hearing about promotion to the heavenly planets by fruitive
Okay.
activity. Give up household life, which is full of sex.
He wasn't saying it like that.
No, it's not. As well as stories about such thing. Give up stories about that. That's like, what's that? Like Maxim magazine, GQ magazine, Cosmopolitan. Give up
I don't
that
think any
too.
of those magazines have stories, Raghunath.
They have stories of sex. They're always things like improve your.
No, but it's story. Any case, continue, please.
I don't read them either. And take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the mercy of the liberated souls. In this way, please give up your attraction for material existence. Hey,
Okay.
this has everything to do with the Narada story.
But we didn't need to go to that one. We got it right here. You
I
see,
know,
that's-
but I'm just, we don't need to go to anything. We can just tell one story.
No. You go to the Bhagavatam. So now
This
Narada.
is the Bhagavatam.
This is, yes, I agree with you. This is.
No, but the other thing could very well be Quranic information. Who's with me on this? Come on, message board.
Okay,
light it
Raghunath,
up.
let's leave this behind. Okay, we've talked about it. That banter's done. Let's get into the Bhagavatam. Okay, with enthusiasm now. All right.
All right.
Now Narada, he's pressing this point. He's seen that the king is ripe now to make a change in life. You know, we all got to make a change different times in life we got to make a change. Do we not, Raghunath?
Make a change. Youth of today, circa
At,
1987. Yes.
at a certain point in different points in our life, we got to walk through a door and not turn back. Just like keep going.
You know, it's one of those things. As you grow older, if you don't make those changes north, you stay in. It's like taking a bath, okay? And we're not criticizing baths. Baths are great. If you stay in that bath for a year, it's weird, and you're not getting clean anymore.
That's
So
right.
it's one thing to experience your life, and you're going through this. And suppose you did drugs, or suppose you worked here, or suppose you were in this relationship, and you learn. If you stay in things that aren't assisting your growth,
Mm-hmm.
after a while, there was a growth opportunity there, but you didn't choose it. And you know what I see this? I see this in the hardcore scene that you and I were born out of.
Okay.
Because over the years, I've seen people who have changed, and they've just like at one time in their youth, like for example, this isn't me. I'm not taking credit for being straight edge, but clean living is an important part of maturing in life. I don't want to take intoxicants. I don't want to eat bad food. I don't want to, divert myself with, drugs, alcohol, etc. And so it's an important thing that we spoke about when we were young. And some people are like, screw you. But over time, they changed. Not because the thing about self-maintenance is an important value in our personal growth. And so they grew. They just maybe waited a couple of years before they opted into these principles. But everybody's got to start taking care of your body, physical health, which were not like on the top priorities of the punk rock hardcore music scene. Usually it was the opposite of that, taking care of your body. But as you grow up, these things that we were sort of sitting with and dealing with, and you learn lessons from neglecting your body. You learn like, I got to take care of my body. And that happens over time. And in the hardcore scene, I've seen people actually change, and they've opted into a better lifestyle, or sometimes even a spiritual path.
So let's get this point. Let's tighten it up, Raghunath. What exactly kind of change?
My point is, we are in our life to learn lessons, to get clean, and sometimes we have to do the complete opposite, or sometimes we're doing something that's actually I can learn from because it's hurting me. I can learn from my pain. That's the gift of pain, and then I change. Or sometimes I need the pain again, or the pain again, or the pain again, and then I learn.
Okay.
So my point is, I don't know how do we even start this?
Okay. I was making a point that the king he's encouraging, I'm sorry, Narada is encouraging King Prachini Barhishat. He's recognizing now's a time in life where you move from one stage to the next and you don't turn back. Right. So when he mentions household life, which is full of sex, when you phrase it that way, it sounds like it's a real looking down one's nose and all like puritanical or something. The way that I understand what he's saying is he's saying you've lived a stage of life, and in that stage of life, sex is part of that stage of life, right?
Yeah.
This is part of the brilliance of the whole yogic tradition, is that you take something like sex, right? It doesn't just say that's bad and it's evil, and it doesn't say, hey, this is the meaning of life and go for it. This is what it's all about. It's saying, let's try to understand it, right? That certainly there's pleasure in it, but if you don't learn to regulate that in a way, it's going to take you over. You're like one of these little mice that's, like they give cocaine to mice and they just keep taking more of it until they die. It's like we need to regulate these things. So he's saying you've lived a life, when you were young, you were brahmachari, you were like a celibate practitioner. And now you've lived a stage of your life where you've engaged, you've enjoyed the pleasures of sex. You've enjoyed the pleasures of family life. You've enjoyed wealth and so on. And now's the time where you move on. Right. And you just turn your back on it and you move forward, and now you take up a whole different life where you don't need that anymore. You've done it, been there, done that, and ready to move on with a tighter focus on your spiritual life. He's calling him to make that change.
Okay.
Text 56.
The king replied, my dear Brahmana, whatever you have said, I have heard with great attention, and considering all of it, have come to the conclusion that the acharyas, the teachers, who
Mhm.
engaged me in fruitive activity did not know this confidential knowledge. If they are aware of it, why did they not explain it to me?
Okay.
Hmm?
Yeah, because because they were teaching one part of it, right? And they may not have had deeper realization, right? They were teaching the teachings from the 4 Vedas, right? These pious teachings that help you take a step up from being completely lost, right, to being a good, pious, religious person. But there's a lot more to life than that, right? You know,
Text
Raghunath,
57.
I had an experience the other day.
Yeah.
I don't know. We could talk about it. It would take a while.
Say it. I'll deflate it. Ready? Go.
You're so hurt about this, Raghunath. Let it go.
Hurt.
But this is my point. Okay, I'll get into it. I went to another yoga school's presentation, let's say, right? People that teach Vedanta. And I heard a
Oh,
talk.
like a
by
real yoga
professor.
school, not like
No.
yoga and kickboxing.
In other words, it was a school of Vedanta. They're teaching Vedanta at this
Okay.
place. And they had a speaker who's a professor. He gave an interesting talk. But what I sensed was here was the theme. The theme was that this universe can be seen as one's Ishtadevata, right? That's one's Ishtadev is one's like the particular god or goddess that you have your focus on, right? You with me, Raghunath? I need you to listen to me, Raghunath.
Yes.
Raghunath, I apologize that I criticized your story.
Do you?
I see that it's hurt you to the
Do you
core.
apologize,
I
or
see
you
that
just
it's
want
got
to
you
move on?
lost. and I need you looking at me in the eye over here, Raghunath. I need you with me. Okay, ready? Do you want to hear the story? Should we just keep it?
I get over things. It just I need to process them. I need to
Okay.
process them.
All right. Because Stuart didn't like the story. I actually like the story. I'm just categorizing it. That's all. Right?
I would have done it differently. I would have said, you know what? This story may not be an authentic story, but let's see if there's some truth here.
That's exactly what I
Let's
did.
move on.
That's exactly what I did.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Right.
It may not be. I don't know because I've never heard it.
Right.
But, it's probably got something. If it's affected you in a deep way, there must be some truth there.
I
That's
said
what I
said that there's likely truth there. I said it's very interesting and something to learn from it.
Okay, ready.
All right. Should I tell the story? Or should we just keep reading?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what I found, Raghunath. So his point was that the universe itself can be your Ishtadeva, right? And then he made a point where I felt he pushed it too far. Because certainly we can see the universe as a manifestation of God, as a manifestation of God's energy, right? But what he said was, where he pushed it, what he started with talking about Einstein and saying that Einstein was looking at the universe and he was filled with wonder. And he said, if anything's my religion, then this is my religion, right? Because just like a religious person turns to God and is filled with wonder, when I look at the universe, I'm filled with wonder. It's unlimited. There's no end to it, and so on. So he took that and ran with it, and he made the point that even if one is an atheist, that and they're studying the universe, they're at no disadvantage to coming to the like moksha, the ultimate liberation. More or less, that's what he said. I should go back and find out exactly, but that was more or less his point. Now, when I heard that, I said, "Well, now hold it. Even if you go to like the Advaitins, who you're apparently representing their teachings here, they'll say that there's different ways of understanding truth, right? They have a whole epistemology that says you can understand things through your senses, you can understand things through your speculation, through inference, and then there's also you were able to hear, right? Like if you and I were locked in a closet and we wanted to understand what was going on outside the closet, our senses aren't going to help us because we can't see it, we can't hear it, right? And we might be able to infer something, but we don't know if what we're inferring is right or wrong. But if there was someone outside the closet and they told us, now we have access to it.
This is Shabda Brahman.
Shabda Brahman. So my point was, in an effort to be inclusive, to recognize the good in others, and to see the truth is coming from different, we push it too far. We swing the pendulum to where you're saying something that's quite removed from even your own tradition, right? And so that's my that this school, I find it to be hyper inclusive. Whereas what we say is that we're inclusive. We can see truth wherever it exists, but there are hierarchies of truth, right? Some things are revealing more than others. And so that's what's happening here with this king. He's saying, I've had these teachers, these acharyas, and they've been teaching me straight from the Vedas, but they weren't teaching me what you're teaching. They're teaching me something else. How is it that you're teaching me something beyond it? Why didn't they explain this to me? Well, they were teaching something on a lower level. Now, if we say that, is that sectarian? Is that no? And here's where it gets really important, Raghunath. You with me now?
I'm with you.
That this hyper-inclusivism, it actually doesn't, I find what it does is it doesn't really open up the understanding to really being truly inclusive. Like, in other words, what you and I have been taught in our lineage is that truth can be found in so many different traditions, right? And within each tradition, there's a hierarchy of truth. There's a hierarchy of realization. You'll find people that practice, like, for instance, in any different world religion, you'll find people that are practicing their religion because they want from God the things of this world, right? Dear God, please give me this. Dear God, I want the Mercedes Benz, right? You'll find people on that level. And the word for that in the Vedic literature is that it was called the karmic level, right? That I'm trying to manipulate the laws of karma to enjoy this world. And then within all the other traditions, you also find this jnanic point of view. I don't look at this world as a place for me to enjoy. I want to escape the sufferings of this world. That becomes one's motive. And then similarly, in all these different traditions, you find other people within the same tradition that say, no, it's not that I want the things of this world from God or that I want God to relieve me from the sufferings of this world. I just want to love God, right? I just want to love and serve God. And in this world, I just see it as God's property. And we call that bhakti. So there's karma, jnana, bhakti. And we say that these hierarchies, it's not just that our tradition is the best and others, that's sectarianism, right? Only our tradition has truth. Your tradition has no truth.
Right.
But this is saying that within all traditions, you can find truth and you can find it on different levels. And once you think that way, then you can say, like, I can honestly say that there are people in other spiritual traditions who I feel are far more deeper in their realization or nearer to God than me, because their bhakti is more, they're more deeply absorbed in bhakti. And it doesn't matter what tradition you're from. You with me?
I got that. Yeah.
So to me, this is a more real inclusivism, rather than just saying no matter what anybody's saying, it's true, which isn't the case, right? See, because someone came up and asked a question at the end of the class and said, but our teachings are saying that this world is illusory. And if they're only studying the illusion, well, then how can that understanding, extend beyond illusion? And when the speaker answered the question, he kind of skirted around it. He kind of skirted around it, and he spoke about living with tolerance to people that have different beliefs. But that really wasn't the question. The question had more to do with the epistemology. It's like, so that, in any case, that's what I'm sharing. So this is coming up here, that the king is saying, I had teachers that are teaching from the Vedas. They haven't explained it like this to me. So he's going to continue now. Text 57.
My dear Brahmana, there are contradictions between your instructions and those of my spiritual teachers who engaged me in fruitive activities. I now can understand the distinction between bhakti, devotional service, knowledge, right, jnana, and renunciation. Knowledge and renunciation. I had some doubts about them, but you have now very kindly dissipated all these doubts. I can now understand how even the great sages are bewildered by the real purpose of life.
Even Narada? Is that you're trying to use? He didn't say even you, Narada.
Of course, there is no question of sense gratification.
Okay.
There's also
he's saying that I've had these people I've had these priests, right? And they've been telling me, be a good king, do kingly sacrifices, engage the wealth of the nation in this way, do your duties, and you're going to enjoy life like crazy. And he thought, like, okay, this is the teachings of the Vedas, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But still, I'm miserable. Still, I'm suffering.
But,
Still,
but not only that, you'll be a good person, right?
Yeah.
This idea of being a good person, do the right thing, do the dharmic thing. And it's true, but there's more.
There's more.
There's more.
And he's ready to dive into the more. But he's got a question first.
I want everyone on Zoom knowing that, if you were just to look at the picture of me in the camera, it looks like Mara's just text messaging friends. She's not. She's actually taking notes during the entire class, because for years I've always, when were times when we weren't sitting next to each other, I was like, what the hell is she text messaging? She's actually taking detailed notes of the entire class. I thought she was in total Maya. Okay. So that, were we?
Text 58.
The results of whatever a living entity does in this life are enjoyed in the next life.
Suffered, you could say, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The expert knowers of the Vedic conclusions say that one enjoys or suffers the results of his past activities. But practically it is seen that the body that performed the work in the last birth is already lost. So how is it possible to enjoy or suffer the reactions of that work in a different body?
Okay. Logical question.
Good question. The great sage Narada continued. The living entity acts in a gross body in this life, and the body is forced to act by the subtle body composed of mind, intelligence, and ego. Boom, there you have it.
Okay.
That goes with the soul. After the gross body is lost, the subtle body is still there to enjoy or suffer. Thus, there is no change.
Okay. He's going to
The living entity, while dreaming, gives up the actual living body. Through the activities of the mind and intelligence, he acts in another body, either as a god or a dog. After giving up the gross body, the living entity enters either an animal body or a demigod's body on this planet or on another planet. He thus enjoys the results of the actions of his past life.
He's saying exactly what we were just saying earlier, that just think about yourself. You travel from one body to another in dreams, right?
Yeah.
Theoretically, you can. So similarly, we do that in so-called real life too.
Yeah. One can understand the mental.
You skipped 62.
The living entity labors under the bodily conception of I am this, I am that, my duty is this, and therefore I shall do it. These are all mental impressions. And all of these activities are temporary. Nonetheless, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity gets a chance to execute all his mental concoctions. Thus he gets another body. This is truth. This is real. I believe in this. This makes so much sense.
It makes.
You know why it makes so much sense?
Why
because even if you don't believe this for the next life, because I don't know if I live another life, it makes sense in this life. I can see my whole lifetime as Raghunath, Ray Capo, Ray of Today. I've had different nicknames throughout the course of my life. Scooter. When I was a kid, they called me Scooter. Because I wanted a nickname. There's nothing wrong with wanting a nickname. I wanted a nickname. Thank you.
Would you like us to go back to Scooter?
No,
or have you moved
Scooter's
on?
Dead and buried. Okay. Now we're moving on. Soon Raghunath will be dead and buried or burnt. The Spiller. Yes, people called me the Spiller. Thank you for reminding me, David Charles Wilson. But anyway, the idea is that we've had so many incarnations of ourselves in this lifetime already, with different heroes, different villains, different bravados and personas and fashions and styles and goals. And it's over. That goal is over. Now I have a new goal. You know what I mean? So these are happening within this lifetime. It's not a far leap of faith to think that the subtle body can travel with the spirit to the next body and continue on with the mental concoctions of fake. When I say fake, I mean just temporary identities.
That's right.
Oh, it's 8:59, my brother.
All right.
Alrighty.
Tomorrow we do a special show for the
Yeah, special
the
show.
Jayanti related.
Yeah, maybe we'll
Bhagavad
read the
Gita.
Bhagavad Gita from Amar Chitra Katha. Ugh!
Maybe everybody should think of their favorite Bhagavad Gita verse. We'll ask some people from the audience.
People, oh, that could be cool. Yeah,
Right?
like unmute people from Zoom.
Yeah, and give us your
Talk
favorite
about
Gita
their favorite verse.
Yeah, what it's meant to you.
Chapu Inanda Chandra. I bet we'd get some good
Oh,
stuff.
there
We got
be.
some
Oh, we can get some
pundits.
Gita chanting going on.
Yeah, we got pundits.
Oh, maybe I can talk Tarun into doing it.
Oh, that'll be tough. Doesn't he go to school?
Oh, he's got school. Yeah, he's got a new shloka under his belt.
That kid's doing good.
212, not Vevaham Jatuna Sham.
He learned that one fast too.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, takeaways.
Yes, please. A little
Like
closer to the microphone, Mara.
I'd like to thank the Zoom chat board who I crowdsourced from. Prestige is a slippery slope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Choose the growth opportunity.
Yeah.
Regulate your pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Regulate it.
Find someone outside the closet. Like if you're
I don't think that has any
I
kind of
guess that sounds
gender
kinda
implication.
weird. There's
Come out of the closet, basically. Come out of the closet.
Well,
There's
no, there's
truth-
hear from someone out of the closet so
from
that you can
someone.
understand.
Hear from
hear
someone.
truth from someone
Hear
out of the closet.
Okay. All right.
There's truth in all traditions.
I didn't quite say exactly
Maybe,
that.
yeah,
Though, right?
maybe there
Yeah,
is. There's
but-
some crazy traditions out there.
Okay. There's probably
Look
a
for
little truth in
lessons.
every tradition.
Look for lessons everywhere.
Look for him. Look for him, Ragnar. Except in comic books.
Good lessons there. Keep
That
your
really
mind
hurt.
focused.
He's angry.
Keep your mind focused on Krishna and you'll be taken care of.
All right.
Yeah.
Everyone gets bewildered.
Yes.
Except for Narada.
everyone.
And don't stay in the bathtub.
Don't stay in the bathtub, people. It's not good for you.
Raghunath, I'm sorry, Raghunath. I'm sorry. It was a nice story. It was bogus. It was
Great story.
unauthorized.
Great story. It was a great story.
But it was.
We
a
don't
great
know
story.
that. We don't. know
Prabhupada
that.
said it. I
We don't
accept
know
it.
it. We don't know it. We don't know it. Why not learn, hear, take some truth from it, apply it to life?
I did that though. You see, that's what you don't catch on. I was like, I said, yeah, there's something to learn here. It's just not necessarily an
We're not
authorized.
sure. We're not sure. You know, see,
We're
I
not
don't like
sure.
to condemn. I like to say, could be. I don't know. I'm not a great
Yeah.
pundit.
But what I
I
did was
don't
I went
know.
to someone that was outside the closet. I went to Srila Prabhupada. And then he said, so then I just repeated what he said. That we call that parampara.
Yeah, I just don't like to condemn
System of
things unless I
disciplic
actually
succession.
know them. Unless I know them.
Well, what do you know,
If
Raghunath?
Prabhupada
What do you
did
know?
say that, he can say that, but I'm not gonna. Like Prabhupada said, that guy's in Maya. That doesn't mean I'm gonna say that guy's in Maya, because it's not my position
No,
to say.
no,
You
no,
know what
no,
I'm gonna
you're
say?
missing-
I'm saying it could be, but here's what I got out of it. Here's what I got out of it. And I got a lot out of that story. It affected me. I was rolling around in bed.
I'm
all
not
night,
saying that you can't get
struggling
you,
with that. My
you can get-
children.
you can
my
get something-
children. The flood.
Raghunath, you could get something
I
out
was
of pure
still,
fiction.
I'm still moved by it. I'm still.
You could get, and I have no problem with that. You can get something out of pure fiction, like we did out of Siddhartha the other day. It's just let's accept that Siddhartha itself
It
is a
could-
story.
Yeah, I accept
That's
it.
all I'm saying. That's
it
all I'm
could be.
saying.
Actually, all I'm saying is the Siddhartha story could have been true too. I don't know. I don't know. That's my statement. That's my takeaway.
Well,
today.
how about this? Are
I
you saying?
don't know. It
Well,
could
that
be.
I accept.
I don't know. It could be.
That
It
I-
could be. I think
that
it's
I don't
safe to
accept.
say. Hey,
That I-
Mikhail, Rosselli, Ciccone, good to see you.
Oh, we haven't seen
Hey,
that
haven't
one.
seen you. Ciao to you. Who else